Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another review, and today I'm going to be taking a look at this right here. Another kit of the absolute sea of gunpla I'm still yet to build. This right here is the high-grade Universal Century ARX-014 Silver Bullet. This is a mobile suit variation, so technically it's not from any particular show per se, but there was one of these in Gundam Unicorn. Anyway, this right here is build number 37 of 50, if I'm not mistaken, of Buildmas. Maybe 38, I'm not even sure, I'm losing count again. But anyway, I got mine right here through Buy. You can too if you want one of these of your own. Alright, so taking a first little bit of a look at the box, we've got the silver bullet on the front, there's another one over here on the right. We have some images on the side of the box as to what this will look like complete, so as you can see this is a variant of the Doven Wolf, and of course there was a variant after this which was the silver bullet suppressor we would have seen in Gundam narrative, so quite a few mobile suits based on that Doven Wolf. On the side here, it shows that we have a shield with a beam launcher with a sliding mechanism. Some details on the head, so it seems like we've got two different head options, one with a typical red Gundam beard, one without. Beam sabers, a shield. We've got some hands which have a kind of Psycommu wire sticking out of them. The beam rifle in here is from a Jegan, funny enough, because that's what we were looking at yesterday. And we do have some beam cannons in the shoulders too. Anyway, on busting open the box, what we get inside of this is 1, 2, 3, 4 bags of runners, which is quite a bit for a high-grade kit, as well as the manual. The manual right here is your typical Gundam UC style manual with all the specs of the mobile suit up there. This is a kit from 2014. 2014 hasn't been the greatest year so far with some of the kits I've been taking a look at, but I'm guessing we will see some more information inside of the pamphlet style manual. And in here we do have 9 runners, one of which is very small, the old school style polycaps, as well as some beam sabers. As for what else is inside the box, we do have a wire in here. This isn't one that holds its shape, really. It does a little bit, but it's not very strong, so you will need to stand for those Psycommu hands. And just look at this absolute massacre of stickers in here. Oh, wow, that is a lot. Damn, we've got white color separation. Some of that nice blue is not present in the kit. Some gray, black, and more of the blue down there. Damn, that is, So jumping on into the build, and first off I have to say, after completing a single leg, there's so many stickers in this kit. I only use the kind of critical blue ones, but there's a few more for using on here. One nice aspect is we do have a toe bend here, not the craziest toe bend around, but we do have one. Moving armor flap, the knee moves a little bit, flap round back as well, and we've got a bend at the knee right here. It doesn't really pull off too much. And we do have proper peg joints up at the hips. Not the worst, but by far definitely not the greatest either. I guess we'll see how it continues. Polycap sandwiched between 2 parts for the ankle. Heel armor attaches on both sides. It's extremely hollow, which is worth noting. The toe is made of 2 pieces, polycap housed within, and this just attaches together just like so for the foot. The hip joint now, 2 polycaps, sandwiched again. Interesting knee joint, so sideways polycap in there, and that's where the knee joint attaches in. Weird design. Closed up and attaches directly into the upper leg armor. Polycap in 2 pieces for the ankle. That attaches with some polycaps, a moving knee and a thruster to make up the lower leg. Next up we've got that really cool Doven Wolf style armor, but this part is not color separated. That means these blue segments here sadly are stickers. We've got a bit of armor for round back. There is a sticker for there, not using it. And this whole section here is meant to have a white sticker stuck on it, but I don't know how different a color it is from what we've got right here. We've got some thruster segments, attaches onto both sides, and then it's the assembly. So ball joint into the foot, that was a fairly decent attachment. Next up we've got the knee joint, attaches down from above, pushed into a polycap, and we finish it all off with the hip joint up there. So a fairly sizable leg. So jumping on into the torso in this bit, attaches in, that is the neck, that is the waist, so not much is going to be going on here. Closes up like so. The shoulder joints are polycaps that lead into these peg joints. The torso section we built attaches into that. We've got a little bit of blue at last in plastic, attaches in like so, and that all closes up just like this. So super simple. Moving down to the waist, and we've got some strange usage of polycaps in here. Big waist cup polycap. The hip part attaches in, we've got a bit below. Those hips then slot in like that and get contained in there. Hollow bottom, simple front skirting, gray piece, butt flap, little thrusters into the side skirts. The nice blue designs on these are stickers, sadly. And once you have all that complete, the legs attach onto pegs, which is an interesting, well, Pegs are normal, but they're backwards pointing pegs that kind of rotate inside of it ever so slightly. Wait, that's confusing. That isn't the joint, but it still fits into it. Weird. Anyway, that's the joint. And then the skirtings mount directly into the top of the legs, just like so. Again, kind of a bit of a hollow aspect to those, but so far, not too bad. Pretty cool looking. Oh, almost forgot. Have the torso ready to go as well. So it's got that ridiculous yet awesome Doven Wolf look. So moving on up a little bit more, and we've got the arms. These are very basic, and man, are they missing a lot of color. Woo! The amount of things they say to do, I'm never going to do that. But yeah, we've got a funny flappy hand here for the flying incom mode, or the Psycommu mode, and the shoulders look like this. Again, this is a very plain kit. I did use one sticker, which is the black one in here, just try it out. Did not impress me, but some of them are ridiculous. They want you to fill the entire inside of that particular thruster section with these. So you're basically trying to frame the inside with the blue. No matter how well you lay those down, that's gonna look like absolute bomb. Anyway, let's continue. Up the shoulders, surprise, surprise. Polycap between two pieces of plastic. For the shoulder armor, we do have this section, which almost looks more like a master grade design. Upper armor closes up, and then they want you to put 57,000 stickers on this, including a frame on the inside of blue around the outside, so 4 stickers, a black one here, and a white one around here. Not a chance. I mean, there's 2 panels in the manual dedicated to stickers only. That's rough. Elbow joint is a single bend with a polycap between 2 pieces of plastic. And it closes up like that. The upper arm, a polycap big piece, slides on inside like a kind of cuff, attaches onto the joint we just built. The forearm is 3 pieces of plastic, not including this one right here. We do have 2 polycaps in there, and then it all attaches together. Again, 4 stickers are for in here to go around that little thruster segment. My bad. 5. We attach some side bits on here. I'm assuming with all this part separation but no color separation that the Doven Wolf has a whole bunch of various different colors for these bits. Finishing off that then is just popping the forearm into the upper arm, into the shoulder joint, and also in a kind of master grade sort of way. This doesn't actually attach onto the shoulder, it actually holds the shoulder on via pressure when the joint is attached in. Lastly, then we have a hand and it pops on into it just like so. When it comes to attaching the arms on, again in a kind of master grade sort of way, first you pop on the shoulders, they kind of cuff on there like so, and then they hold on when the arm is pushed on the whole way. So coming along fairly decently. Also, no standard backpack there. I think that was kind of from the Revive era. Before that, we've got a whole bunch of kind of proprietary, different backpack attachment points. So jumping on into the backpack, and you start off by slamming these 2 parts together, only to see this right here, which is just no color at all. I mean, this, half the time I'm building this kit, I feel like it's just a kit cast in white. Again, kind of like what I was saying with the EZSR, it's like an artist proof. It's like a kit with no color for painting. But that's not the case. It's meant to have color. Check out the amount of stickers for how many. Woo! Next up, you build up the incoms. Again, solid white. Now, of course, even some subtle panel lining would bring this a long way from the way that it looks, because the color, or should I say the lining in there, is not too bad. It does look like it would take to panel lines very well. The incom section then slots on in just like so. Of course, a polycap, because why wouldn't there be one? This little segment attaches up top, and then all of that locks in with this piece like so. The incom here is actually able to pop out the back just like so. It's a little bit awkward, and again, it's all the one color, but pretty cool. 2 pieces stick together to make this. You bet there's stickers for on here. Oh look, finally, a drop of color in this absolute sea of white, finally. This bit then pops down here, so we've got a little bit of movement. Mochiron, a polycap. We've got a nice little flap for over the missile pod section. 2 more colors, Bandai are spoiling us now. This then slots on and in here like so. Big vernier section pops in like that. We've got this rounded segment then that pops in there. And then everything that was built is finally attached together. So that part on there, the backpack section. It is kind of disappointing that there's so much kind of color inaccuracy, because the Doven Wolf is such a nice design. So is the Silver Bullet. Wow, rickety. And then the backpack attaches on just like that into a non-standard backpack adapter. This is a pretty big high-grade kit. I had to hold my tongue there from just blurting out a big disappointment. I'm not sure if it is. Maybe not. It's still pretty cool. Early days yet. Early days yet. So next up in here we've got the head, and overall I'm actually surprised by how decent enough this looks. A little bit of panel lining on it would make it go a whole long way. Again, not awful. Unless you know what it's meant to look like, then yeah. This has 7 stickers you need to stick onto it. That chin is meant to be red. Honestly though, personally I dig the blue. Anyway, you stick the muzzle onto the mouth. The eye sticker is catastrophically bad. It has this kind of cut out piece that's meant to go over the kind of bridge of the nose zone. Then you attach both sides of the heads on, the V-fin followed by 2 supplementary antennas around back. So yeah, not only is the eye sticker terrible, but the biggest letdown is there's another build in here, which is the gym head. We have 2 parts for building the gym head. That is this little segment right here, and a cool little clear visor that goes over it, a little bit something like that. However, the rest of the head is the same, so you can't build them both. It's an either or build, which is so sad. It was literally 4 parts away from it, and there's such a pile of crap on some of these runners that, like, they could have spared the 4 parts. Anyway, finally then the head pops on up there, and honestly, despite the misery, it still turns out looking pretty good. Makes you wonder what it would look like if it was fully color accurate with a little bit more detail. Again, not the worst, all things considered, but not the funnest journey to get there. So jumping on to the aesthetics, and that right there is what the high-grade silver bullet looks like out of the box, just snapped together. I threw a couple of the stickers on, but otherwise this is pretty much a straight build with nothing extra done. Oh wait, I did actually slightly line the little Gundam nose line bits. Besides that, everything is exactly what it looks like out of box. So I'm absolutely hugely out of time today, so I'm going to try and expedite this review as quickly as possible. So let's go really fast. When it comes to the overview here, this is definitely a disappointing Gundam kit. It kind of lacks a lot of the overall features and details that you'd like to see, and it has every single model kit sin you could ever, well, shake a stick at. Mold lines right on the front. Seam lines all over the place. Nub marks, you could play join the dots with them. However, at its core, the foundation is here. This is definitely the silver bullet through and through. It is very plain with a lot of big areas of plain plastic. That combined with the fact that this is predominantly in pretty much white and grey means this is one of the plainest looking out-of-box builds there is. The actual Doven Wolf itself is green and red with a whole bunch of kind of angles and stuff going on. This really planes it down, and even though I love the silver bullet design and the concept, the model kit itself isn't blowing my socks off. But when it does come down to it, it's a very unique design. The big, awkward, beautiful Neo Zeon legs, combined with a Gundam head and some kind of squared off Gundam-esque-ness around the body, is kind of a funny combination. A Frankenstein's monster of mobile suit designs. So then I say all of that stuff, then I turn on the lights to take the slow-mo shots for what I just said, and it ends up looking like this right here. Just look at that, the way its eyes are catching the light. There's nothing done here, that's just the light hitting those eyes, and they're reflecting in its kind of shiny chest. So yeah, even though sometimes some kits don't look that great out of box, the build it may not be the most impressive, sometimes they'll just hit the light the right way and then kinda end up looking spectacular. So yeah, again, this is one of those kits that if you do put the time and the effort into it to make up for the lack of kind of colors and color separation and all the kind of model kit sins on it, this could be a spectacular looking 1/44 scale kit. You know, all the shape is there, the kind of faceted armor that catches the light spectacularly, the killer looking glare, it's all there. It's just the lack of color separation is its biggest issue, as well as some things you need to put some effort into yourself. But yeah, foundation's pretty good. Some very cool results are going to result if you treat this right. Great foundation. So into the zoom ins, I'm going to blast through this pretty quickly. I guess I can't really talk about all the color inaccuracies. There's meant to be 7 stickers on this head, including the chin little section being in red, but it'll be going on about it till this time next year. Again, we've got massive issues like a seam line right down the top of the head, but then it just catches the light the right way and looks pretty badass. There's just a funny thing about this. The design still shines through a pretty meh gunpla. Moving down to the torso, and there's a lot of pan lining opportunities in the kind of recesses here that will definitely bring out a lot of the details. Now there's meant to be some white above the cockpit hatch as well. There's a lot missing that you'll have to fill in yourself. Nothing too impressive to be said about the arms. That big thruster up in the shoulder right there is meant to have that nice kind of blue color on the inside lining it and black on the inside. But what we get out of the kit, just out of box, is just a big empty square. Again, missing so much. Good foundation, not so great out of box build. When it comes to the skirting armors, again, super plain. We've got some mold lines right in your face on them, and just overall, it's very lacking. The backpack here is all in the one color, but we do have a lot of nice moving parts, some color separation up towards the top, and again, some more detail into this. It's just, I don't know, it's just kind of like a colorless kit. Add color, will be better. Lots of seams to fill. The lower legs on the Doven Wolf and its, well, I guess spin-off kits are very, very nice. It's very unique. We've got some big, flat, albeit cool looking feet. The thrusters on the side are nice, and we've got some asymmetry on the inside as we don't have a little bit of a thruster on that particular part. I guess the long and short of it is, awesome design, poorly amalgamated into gunpla. You can save it with a whole lot of cement and paint. Jumping on into the size comparison, and there it is beside a high-grade Oryx 78-2, and as you can see, the silver bullet is a big girl. I don't usually throw in a master grade into a high-grade size comparison, but I think it's important this time around. It's almost master grade in height, so it's big. Very big. Anyway, grabbing some randos off the shelf, there is the high-grade Psycho Doga, high-grade Double Zeta, high-grade Ariel, and the high-grade G-Quacks. Jumping now on into the aesthetics, and there's the high-grade Silver Bullet with everything that it comes with, and it comes with quite an amount. First off, we do have the usual Gundam loadout of sword being the beam sabers, board being a very nice, interesting shield, and a beam rifle being a Jegan-style beam rifle. Top of that, we've alternate hands including a shooting hand, two widespread hands for the, not the incoms, I should say the psycho thingamajiggy magic hands. And then we've got the regular holy hands in here. We've got these cannon-ish sections for around the back. We've got an alternate parts, or should I say alternate parts, not an alternate parts, but alternate parts for making an alternate head. I would have preferred the whole head, but well, what can you say? We got two stands for holding on to the Quasi Psycommu arms. That's what I was trying to remember a second ago. And we do have these kick-ass little kind of claw arms. Those are badass, and they're nicely designed too, with moving little grabby ends. These are for attaching on the Quasi Psycommu arms, and we do have two wires included in here too. So definitely a nicely packed box right here. Alright, so we're going to be glazing over some stuff to speed things along. I'm going to attach this onto an action base. This is only a small one. It's not an action base, by the way. It's the Simple Stand by Good Smile Company. I will mention that it actually has a bit of trouble squeezing into older kits compared to modern kits, which is a funny kind of thing. Anyway, getting them up on that. Looking pretty good. So I'm going to be blasting through things I'm not going to be taking a look at directly today. So we have beam sabers that got a little bit bent inside the box. That right there is what the handles look like. And these of course can be popped in the hands in the usual kind of beam saber sort of way, but there is nowhere to store them when they're not in use. Bye. Next up, we've got a Jegan style beam rifle. Now this isn't the usual kind of beam rifle color. This is actually in a matching shade to the actual mobile suit itself, to the gray color, which isn't the coolest look really. It tends to make things look a little bit on the cheap side. But yeah, it's plain, it doesn't do much. That is what it looks like. So my plan today to kind of speed things along is to load this kit up with what I'm going to be attaching onto it. So first off in here we do have the shield. This does have some nice moving elements in the end right here because it is a big old cannon, which is quite nice. It's layered up with quite a few parts. It's heavy duty. We do have color separation to those little missiles in there. And it looks like there is some kind of mechanism to the actual Doven Wolf or Silver Bullet's shield. It obviously can't do it because it's all set in place. But make a great master grade, Bandai. Honestly, considering the way master grades are going these days, I won't be surprised to see a Silver Bullet Verka or something similar like that. They can milk it a couple of times, it's big and it's cool, and it would work out nicely. So the shield just attaches onto the back of the, check that out. It's going to have to be some tightening up inside the body. That's the, polycaps attaching on that shoulder peg. They just don't hold it up, so you're going to have to raise things a little higher than you want them to be for them to drop down to where you want them. But anyway, that's what that looks like. I'll also mention other things I'll get through kind of quickly. The cannons can move up and over the shoulder just like so. There's some nice moving segments like this back here. This part right here opens up. We do have some color separated missiles inside, but it's meant to be black in between them all. It's only meant to be the warheads or whatever that are in blue, but then again, it's still nice to have it somewhat in color. Both of those can do that. We do have the little incom section back here that does open up. It's a little bit on the awkward side to pull out. So I'm just gonna insert footage from when I did it the last time because it's a little bit of a pain. Strange design. Also, you can't actually pop it onto the wire, it seems. The wire is only for the Quasi Psycommu arms we're about to take a peep at. Anyway, when it does come to Quasi Psycommuing those arms, you just pop it off like so. You need to take out the joint as well. We have two options then. First off is this hand right here, which actually is better than the arm itself. It's got a functioning claw that opens up just like that. That's pretty cool. The bottom one doesn't seem to move, but the two top ones do. That's really cool. A nice little kind of sub-arm style arm. Apparently, according to the instructions, the what I would call the thumb section is what sticks out to the outside, and the two little grabby fingers point like that. That's really cool. I like that a lot. That's a mad cool look. It almost looks like a really short-term kind of repair or something like that. That is gnarly cool. No articulation, by the way. It just kind of sticks in there and can only be straight. As for attaching it with a wire, you just pop this segment and then this segment here up into the upper arm. There is a simple included stand, included stand kind of implies. Ooh, that's not good. That'll be better if you push it all the way on. So it's just a simple kind of effect like that. You can't adjust the height or the angle, but it's still cool. It's involved in the box. And we've got a nice angled hand for using with that. You then pop the wire in the back of the hand, arm, and then the other end pops on in there like so. And both hold fairly decently, so you can have it firing off its Psycommu arm like this. Now this stand, again, the kind of limited height to it as well as the base means it does kind of get pushed over very easily. So I would recommend grabbing yourself a kind of supplementary stand, something like the Action Base 4 and maybe the Witch from Mercury little sections that attach into it to get a little bit more of a dynamic look, but that does look pretty badass. And of course you can do that with both arms, not just the one like I'm demonstrating. Last up in here are these guys, which I thought were those giant beam sabers, those kind of hyper beam sabers or the hyper beam thingamabobbers, but apparently they're missiles and they attach on to these little bits up here. That's kind of a funny place. And the clip does look a little bit on the awkward side, but you know, they are included. So jumping on into the articulation and we can see what kind of moves she can pull off. This isn't really all that bad considering, you know, it's a little bit floppy, but it's big. And it is based on the very, well, not very old, but quite old polycap infrastructure, if that's the word I would use. A lot of people do say this does loosen up over time. I do know that. So I guess we'll see how it performs. The arms here aren't strong. They can't even hold themselves up, so they can't really deal with the weapons too well. And yeah, let's pose them up. Anyway, getting into the usual pose, and honestly, it's performing a whole lot better than I thought it would. The knee bend, the ankle bend, very nice. The only thing that is kind of limited, the torso has no ab crunch per se, and the elbows are only 90-degree bends. So there we go. That is pretty much what we get. Again, better than I thought. Nice bend at the toe down here, but as you can see, it kind of sags away from that back to the flat foot. We do have some hollow parts as well there, I forgot to mention earlier on. Overall though, you know, this isn't the full test of what a kit can do, but dynamic enough. I'm kind of impressed. So anyway, that right there is it for the review, and I didn't spend enough time with this to rank it. I'm also really tired, so yeah, thinking is hard. All I can say is if I was to rank it, would definitely be towards the lower end of the ranking spectrum. I'm just going to go through it pretty quick anyway, just so you can kind of get the general gist, but I'm sure you got it already. Aesthetically, this thing is sticker hell, has way too many molds and seam lines and nubs all over the place, so this is definitely not a great out-of-box build. This is definitely a project build for someone who's going to sand everything down, close all the seam lines, and then paint it up beautifully. The foundation is there to do it, and it will look spectacular if done. It's just going to be quite the journey to get there. Articulation wise, it really isn't all that bad. For a big clunker, can actually pull off some decent enough poses. The only thing that feels a little bit limited is the right angle bend at the arms, but besides that, not too bad. When it comes to the accessories, there's a lot of options in here, but a lot of it falls kind of short. For example, we do have the option of building a gym head, but if we had a couple more parts, we'd be able to switch them in and out all of the time. The beam sabers, the beam rifle, not so exciting. The options with the arms are quite cool. You've got the cool claw hands, hands even. The Quasi Psycommu arms, which do include stands, which are nice. They do have a bit of issues standing up. Any kind of weird angle, tension in the wire, springiness in the wire, anything like that will knock it right over, but still cool that it is included, and the hand options are nice. Finally then, when it does come to the build, it's kind of a hard thing to say. The build here, if you are going to out-of-box build it, is very sticker heavy. If you don't use the stickers, there's going to be a whole lot more to do, so you know, the build itself feels incomplete. When it comes to the overall structure of the kit, it's not the greatest, but it's not the worst either. It does feel like it's holding up fine right now, besides the shoulders, which are quite loose. But then again, it could get worse over time. Again, I didn't spend too much time with it. It is cool, it is big, it's a great foundation for a brilliant project, but out of box, not the most impressive thing. Anyway, if you do want one of your own, link in the description. I got mine through Buy. Come back again tomorrow for another day of Buildmas, and I'll see you then. As always, this video right here and every single video I make would not be possible without each and every one of you guys who watches this video. And special thanks at the end of this video right here to those who support on the channel memberships as well as over on Patreon, including Caleb Engelhart, Joe, OG59061, Scotty Thomas, and Simon.